That Wish You Wish You'd Never Made by Po_Tato2. Chapter 9. Healing Yippee. Izuku watches the way they flinch away when he turns to look at them. And a twisted up, nearly crumpled away part of him wants to cry when he sees it. Instead, he turns away with a blank face, because things like that only hurt if you let them, and Izuku learned a long time ago how to avoid that pain. Their fear doesn't touch him, their hatred can't burn him. He refuses to let it. A girl hits the wall in her haste to get away from him. A boy shields the girl next to him as they pass Izuku in the hall. There is a shaky smile thrown his way, even as they close their eyes tightly when Izuku has to walk closely to them due to the nature of the stairwell. The first time he walks in the cafeteria afterwards, he hasn't even made it back to his table before something wet hits the back of his head, and Izuku can tell from the smell that it's a handful of soba that lunch rush was serving that day. He eats outside after that. Izuku doesn't bother hanging around his classmates anymore. He doesn't think he can take it if the people who have grown to accept him hate him once more. He doesn't bother hiding the use of his quirks anymore. The second the bell rings, he's speeding out the door, only a blur. Monoma doesn't even try to taunt him, only stares at him with a pale face and wide eyes before rapidly walking past him without making eye contact. The news footage of him fighting all for one is steadily trending on social media. People are afraid of him. His intent quirk has to be left off these days. Otherwise, the wave of sheer hatred and fear directed towards him is too much for him to handle. That's fine. He's happy to be their bad guy. None of it matters. None of it can touch him. Izuku doesn't need their approval or support to survive. At least, that's what he tells himself. Aizawa is surprised to approach his apartment, only to see Shinso sitting against the wall next to his front door. "Can I help you?" Aizawa unlocks his front door, watching with amusement as Shinso groans as he stands, his joints popping. "I gotta talk to Shigaraki-kun," Shinso says, following him when Aizawa beckons him inside. "Then why were you outside when he's definitely here?" Aizawa asks, raising an eyebrow. Shinso slips off his shoes and puts on a pair of guest slippers. He won't talk to anyone in class. At all. He doesn't answer messages or anything. I think he's avoiding us because everyone else is being an asshole. Interesting. Aizawa knew Izuku was avoiding everyone, of course, but he also knew that forcing the kid to do anything was next to impossible and would only turn him against him. Maybe he doesn't want to talk to any of you. Aizawa expects Shinso to pause or stumble, but he doesn't. He only sets his face, determination lining him. "He can tell me that to my face, then. That jackass is my friend, and I'll be damned if I let myself get ignored without an explanation." This kid. Aizawa shakes his head to himself, a rueful grin on his face. "Go on then, second door on the right." Shinso sends him a brief, wry smile before jetting off. Aizawa has no doubt that Izuku knows Shinso is here, so he has to hope that he'll give the kid a chance. Izuku has Tomura, of course, and he'll have Toga, Dobby, and Spinner once they're out of rehabilitation. But that's not nearly a big enough social circle for a high school boy. Not to mention, Aizawa is bright enough to recognize the look on Shinso's face when he's around Izuku. It's almost cute if he doesn't think about it too much. Hisashi had been the one to point it out to him, however, that sometimes, occasionally, Izuku will have that same look, too. And Aizawa doesn't want him to lose that. Izuku has half his body out the window when Shinso comes through the bedroom door. The bedroom door, which has been unlocked and opened courtesy of Tomura, who's wearing a shit-eating grin. "Really?" is the first thing Shinso says, which Izuku begrudgingly admits is fair. "I don't know what you're talking about." Izuku responds with a straight face, more out of instinct than anything else, and Tomura snorts. "Dude, be serious and get back in here," Shinso says exasperatedly, although a smidge of fondness underlies his tone. There's a second where Izuku visibly debates launching himself out the window, but one look at Tomura tells him that his brother will undoubtedly cause him problems if he does so. Sighing loudly, Izuku climbs down from the windowsill, sinking back inside. Now it's just silent, which is actually worse than when Izuku was actively sneaking out of the window to avoid human contact. Shinso finally speaks with a sigh after Tomura stealthily slips out of the room. "I've been trying to talk to you since you've been back, you know. Why have you been avoiding me?" "Calm me straight into the heavy shit." Izuku makes a vague noise that could perhaps be a broken washing machine, or even a particularly morose bird, but he starts talking anyway, not even sure why he's doing so. Shinso speaks back, and they continue talking on and on until nearly 4 hours have passed without either of them noticing. Guilty, Shinso says he should have been back at the dorm an hour ago, which only makes Izuku grin. He stands up regardless, though, offering a hand to Shinso and hauling him up from where they sprawled out across the ground. Before I go, there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, or just tell you, I guess, Shinso says, his eyes dying to look at the wall above Izuku's head. What is it? Izuku pauses from where he'd been turned to walk to his bedroom door. Shinso harshly bites his lip for a moment, then seems to realize what he's doing and abruptly stops. Listen, Shigaraki-kun, I wanted to tell you. He takes a hesitant step closer to Izuku, and Izuku has to work to not suddenly blurt out something. A hand with fingers that are longer than his reaches out to hover over Izuku's arm. Oh shit, oh my fucking god, shit damn fuck. Contrary to the steady stream of profanity that's on repeat in his head, Izuku takes a calm step forward as well, allowing his arm to fully press into Shinsho's hold. Yeah? Izuku prompts, although his voice sounds a little hoarse for some reason. Shinso inhales and seems to fortify himself. Dull purple eyes look into Izuku's with determination shining out of them. I like you a lot, Izuku. Would you go on a date with me? Suspecting that it was going to happen was a lot different than actually having it happen, Izuku reflected as his eyes grew wide despite his lack of shock. His eyes scrunch up at the corners as he offers Shinso a small smile through strands of pure white hair. I'd really like that.